Hello YouTube, Trucker Todd here. Time for me to reveal where I went to work and how it's been. I've been there about 10 days now. I went to Roadrunner Freight in their LTL division. Basically I run terminal to terminal with LTL style freight. And so it's mostly drop and hook. I say mostly, it should all be drop and hook, but if I do what they call a backhaul, then which is basically what you and I would call broker freight, then it's obviously not drop and hook. Okay, let's jump right in. So my recruiter was a guy that worked out of his house in Tennessee. For the most part, he was really good. He had me set up well for orientation, was fairly honest, but there's some more information I wish he would have gave me that he didn't give me, but I understand a recruiter's role is to get me in the door. And once you got a guy saying, okay, I'm ready to go, then you take the deal. Now, as you can see, I look pretty rough right now. My hair's messed up and I'm super sweaty, and I'll explain why that is too later in the video. So they flew me to Milwaukee for orientation. Orientation was supposed to be Monday and Tuesday. I ended up not leaving there till Wednesday. The guy that did orientation was fairly new. I think he said he had only been doing it a few weeks. There was a lot of information, a lot of questions asked that he didn't have the answers to. Orientation in general, and I don't know if it was just that Milwaukee location. They were also simultaneously doing orientation in Atlanta and Dallas, and I don't know if those orientations were better, but I did not feel ready to start work when we completed orientation. There was a lot of information we needed that we simply didn't get. The guy himself, nice guy, did the best he could. Man, it wasn't just him. They have us using these tablets for our login, and it uses the Rand McNally electronic logs. It's pure junk. I don't like it at all. They claim after you're here, I think it's 4 to 6 weeks, that it will, ooh, I got the hiccups. It will complete all the updates and it'll get better. I've only been here about 10 or 11 days, so I can't confirm or deny that yet. I can let you know in a future video if it does get better over time. That was another thing while I'm talking about this electronic logs. The guy that we did it on a video conference that showed us how to use these zoomed through it, and these things move super slow. So I mean, we were all sitting there lost, and none of us were confident that we could operate it at the end of the presentation. Now I will say, in that person's defense, I've had to call them several times with logbook issues since then, not being able to log into the system not having signal. It works off the Sprint network and it sucks most of the time. But the guy, when you talk to him on the phone one-on-one, is real helpful. He is super knowledgeable, and I don't know why he was in such a hurry that day, but yeah, it is what it is. So I get out of orientation. You go over to Lakeside International. I wanted an international, so that's why I had to go to Lakeside, and that's also why they had me do my orientation in Milwaukee instead of Dallas, because that's where the trucks are. So I get over there. They've got really nice trucks. You've got your choice of an automatic or a 10-speed. Most of them are in pretty good condition. But here's the but. I go over there and pick out which one I want on Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday. Maybe it was Monday. Anyway, I go to pick it up, and I've loaded all my stuff in it. I'm putting the front license plate on, and I notice a leak underneath. Get under there and look, and the high pressure fuel pump is leaking pretty bad. So I tell the salesperson, who he seems like a really good guy, by the way, and I don't have anything bad to say about him, and you'll see why here in a minute. So They pull it in the shop, they look at it, say the front cover's leaking, it's at least a 20-hour job, we're going to fix it. Do you want to wait on this truck at least 2 more days, or would you rather select another truck? I said, well, let's go see what else you got back there. Okay, I go back there, I pick out another one that ended up having 86,000 less miles on it. This one had 301,000 miles on it when I got it. It's a 2015 International ProStar. Don't worry, it doesn't have the Max Force engine. It does have the Cummins. And I did get the 10-speed with the electric APU, electric power unit, which is technically called an EPU, which I like those, by the way, and I can make a separate video about that. If any of y'all are curious, just leave a comment below or email me, and I'll make a video about whatever y'all are interested in learning more about. So anyway, I pick another truck. By the time I got my stuff moved, everything in there, it's late at night. So I run over to Walmart, spend the night there. Next morning I get up and I take a load that goes from Milwaukee to Los Angeles. 2,000 miles. I want to say it paid about $1.30 a mile with the fuel surcharge and everything. The freight, this is one of the things I'd get from your recruiter before you make a decision about if you're wanting to come here or not. They have a rate sheet, and it depends where you pick up and where you deliver. They have rates that are $2 a mile plus the fuel surcharge, and they have some that are 95 cents or $1 a mile plus the fuel surcharge. They don't pay for hardly anything. I think they reimburse for scale tickets, and that's about it. So you have to be mindful of that if you accept a load that goes to a place that has a lot of tolls like the Northeast. The very first thing they wanted me to do, and I almost forgot to mention this, when I left orientation, they wanted me to go to Detroit. Now I'm in Milwaukee. They wanted me to go to Detroit and pick up a trailer and come back to Bolingbrook, which is right outside of Chicago, to get loaded. They wanted me to go to Detroit, get a trailer, and then come back to Chicago. The problem with that is that's all toll roads. Now this place, and I guess I skipped a lot of the story. When I went to the airport, United doesn't allow any baggage. You pay for every bag you put underneath. The recruiter, this is one of the things that, he played recruiter a little bit on, said, it should be about 20 or 30 bucks. Bring your tools, bring everything. So I brought 75 pounds worth of stuff. Or 75 pounds worth of stuff. It cost me $70. Now this is not money I was expecting to spend. I was expecting 20 or 30. Then I get to Milwaukee, and instead of leaving Tuesday, I don't leave till Wednesday. And they pay for, well, the hotel has breakfast, they pay for lunch, and then dinner's on you. So I ended up telling them, hey, I can't do this load because I needed an advance at that point. I had spent some money. And they give you $150 a week advance, which if you've never driven a truck, sounds like a lot. When you're owner-operator, lease purchase, that's not very much money. They will not give you money beyond that for any circumstances. So for example, in that situation, if I had gone to Detroit and then come back to Chicago and gobbled up $100 of that $150, they wouldn't give me any more money. I'd just have to try to live on $50 a week. Now if I wanted to cat scale my loads, I'd have to do it with that remaining 50 bucks. And so that doesn't leave much money for food or anything else. Now, some of you are going to say, you should never enter a deal like this unless you've got X number of dollars saved up. I agree. That was not possible in this situation. I've had 3 bad companies in a row, and I was just trying to make it through. So they did, or they are going to reimburse me the $70 on my first paycheck, which will be on the 6th. It should have been the 30th, but that Los Angeles load, I didn't make the payroll cutoff. I missed it by about 6 hours. So I'll basically have 2 weeks worth of trips on the check for the 6th. or close to 2 weeks anyway. So it is a little cold-hearted. I mean, sometimes stuff happens out here on the road and you need a little extra advance, and this is the only company I've worked for that under no circumstances will they give you any extra money. You're on your own. Now for some of the good. They do treat you like a true owner-operator. You pick your own loads. They have brokers if you want to get a broker load, which I almost always have to do to go to Lubbock. And so that's good and bad. If you're the type of person that is not self-disciplined, this might not be the deal for you, because nobody's going to lean over your shoulder and say, you really need to work. I mean, they tell you they'd like you to stay out 3 weeks, but since you're dispatching yourself, you can pass by the house as much as you want if you just pick the right loads. And so I do think their fees are a little high, and I would encourage you to talk to a recruiter and get a breakdown of all the fees. They did have a lady call me and ask me what kind of money I needed to make weekly and what kind of miles I wanted to run, and tell me if there was a snowball's chance in the world that I would make it. And based on the information I gave her, she felt like I had realistic goals. Now, so I take the load to California. I get to Utah, and I'm pulling in a scale, and for those that's never driven a truck, when you pull in a scale, you're supposed to roll down your window because they have loudspeakers there, and they give you verbal instructions, like if they want you to pull behind the building for an inspection, if they want you to park and bring your paperwork inside. So you're supposed to turn off your headlights and roll down your driver's window so you can hear their verbal commands. Well, I go to roll down my window, and my window doesn't roll down. Matter of fact, none of the electrical controls on my driver's door work. And I thought, oh great, I'm in a Utah scale and nothing's working. So fortunately, I made it through the scale. They didn't pull me around back or nothing. I went to the very next truck stop I could get to. I get out, I go inside, I get a drink, it's a Pilot, come back, and my windows are working again. And I think, well, maybe it just hiccuped. But my center stack, like where the radio is, none of those switches are working. Jake brakes, nothing. Air suspension, fifth wheel slide, all of that has stopped working. And so I'm like, great. Also, CV's not working all of a sudden. And I thought, well, I'm going to California. I'll get it looked at later. So I go to take off. I have no air conditioning. Now, at this point, I'm close enough to California. I'm thinking, hey, I'll tough it. I'll roll down my windows. Now, my EPU, my electric power unit, did still have AC. So I knew I could sleep in relatively fair comfort. So I get to California, deliver the load. I take another one going to Dallas because I figure that'll pass me through the house and I can pick up the rest of my stuff that I wasn't able to carry on the airplane. But it's freaking hot in California. I think it was 106, 107 degrees. And so I call the guy at Lakeside International that sold me the truck, because he had said if anything happens in the first 30 days that's not my fault, that they'll help me out. And he's great, keeps his word. He's like, yeah, take it to an international dealer and call me. He said, the way it works, you take it to the shop and I pay for it. I said, okay. I'm going to try to take it to the house, because if it's got electrical issues, I don't want to be sitting in a hotel in California paying for that, because there wasn't no mention of hotel pay at that point. Well, I just almost had a heat stroke in Southern California, because when I got there, the guy that was supposed to be setting me up a load to Dallas dropped the ball. He didn't get it done for whatever reason. And since then, I have not spoken with him or worked with him again, because he really let me down. I was sitting in a drop yard in 106 degree heat, and my little EPU couldn't keep up at those temperatures. Those are designed to, once the truck is cool, maintain it. They're not designed to cool off a 107 degree truck. and so it was really struggling. And what I ended up having to do is go to the Ontario truck stop and sit in the driver's lounge till after dark, and then go to sleep out in the truck when the truck had cooled off a little. But anyway, the guy at Lakeside International called Colton, California International, and they said it would be at least a week before they could look at me. So then he called the international dealer in Monticello. They said they could look at me the next day, but they didn't have a clue when they could fix me, that they were pretty backed up. So at that point I made the choice to take the Dallas load and go to Dallas, and then get a broker load going back to Lubbock to get the truck worked on. Well, Arizona was super hot, 106, 107, and so I poured sweat. I got to Sweetwater, Texas, and ran out of hours until midnight, so I had to sit. Took a shower there. This was yesterday, and I'm already covered in sweat again. I'm loaded now. I'm just waiting for my logbook hours for my break to finish, and then I'm going to drive to Lubbock. This load will deliver Sunday night in Lubbock. Of course, Monday's Labor Day, so the shop won't be open on Monday, and then Tuesday morning I'll get it in there bright and early, and we'll get it figured out. Now, some weird things that's happened too. Just like the driver's door fixed itself, that center stack where all those switches weren't working also fixed themselves. So the big things I've got going on right now that they're going to fix at the international dealer is my CB wiring still don't work, my AC still blows hot, and my inverter's not working, and my the way the CPU works is when the batteries get low, it's battery powered. When they get low, the truck will start and recharge the batteries, almost like optimized idle used to be on the old Freightliners. Well, it used to crank about every 8 or 9 hours. Now it's cranking every couple hours, every 2 or 3 hours. And so I'm thinking the heat may have zapped a couple of my batteries. It has actually separate batteries for the EPU from the truck batteries. And so I'm hoping they'll take a look at that too. But I really appreciate Lakeside International for coming together and keeping their word and helping me out with getting this truck fixed. They've been great to deal with. If you need a truck, if you're in the market for a truck, I'd encourage you to give them a call. And if you're looking for a specific salesperson there, the one that I dealt with, you can email me and I'll give you his name and contact information. I just don't like to broadcast it out over YouTube here. I don't give any names, I just give titles. Now, some more negative about Roadrunner. I'm at a terminal, and I'm speaking to a terminal manager, and I'm saying I need to get to Lubbock for truck repairs. He goes, "Where's Lubbock?" I said, "It's in West Texas, about 2 hours south of Amarillo." He points to Dallas. He says, "How far are you from Dallas?" I said, "About 350, 400 miles. "Oh, so you're close to Houston?" I said, "No, I'm about 600 miles or so from Houston." "Well, what about San Antonio?" I said, "I'm about 6 hours from San Antonio." So he points back to Dallas again. I said, "Go left." Every time I said go left, he moved his finger right. Finally, when he got to Arkansas, I stopped him. And I was kind of upset at this point. I'm like, and I probably shouldn't have said this, but I'm like, "Your other left, how do you not know left from right? You're a terminal manager. How did you get to be a terminal manager if you don't know left from right?" Now, I regret saying that. I shouldn't have said that. So he's like, "Well, show me where it is." So he pulls the map across the desk, and I point to where Lubbock is. He's like, "Yeah, we don't have nothing going there." Now, I don't know why, or at the time I questioned, why did they hire me if they don't have anything near my house? But I have to remember, they have broker loads. And as we speak, I'm on a pretty good broker load right now. With the fuel surcharge, this load is paying $1.62 a mile. So they do have, you can pretty much go anywhere in the country, and they down talk broker freight, but my experience thus far is the broker freight is sometimes better than the company freight. And so I have noticed some disorganization I have noticed some miscommunication. I guess that goes on at all trucking companies. They make you pay for the trailers, which to me is extremely strange, and it's not cheap. And so I don't know why I'm paying for their trailers. I brought this up in orientation and they said, well, this covers the tires and the maintenance on the trailer. Yeah, but it's not my trailer, it's your trailer. Just like I'm covering the tires and maintenance on the truck, my truck, you should cover the tires and maintenance on the trailer, your trailer. So yeah, that's where we're at on that. And I'm going to pause it a second. My battery's going dead. Okay, I'm back now and it's charging. So yeah, that's the deal about that. Like I said, they do have some good paying freight and they have some not good paying freight based on your origin and your destination. I will say their fees and deductions do seem a little bit high to me, but my experience so far is you can make money here. My first check is looking like it's going to be pretty good. And I'll just have to do a future video and let you know if that continues. What I would encourage each of you to do is like and subscribe so that when I do put out videos about this company, you can see them. I'd also encourage you to give me a thumbs up, share this video with your friends on social media, things like that, and leave a comment below or email me. I'll have my email in the description below. And I'm sure I'm forgetting something. If I do, if there's something you want to know about, mention it below. Oh yeah, one more thing I will mention. A lot of you are curious about truck payments and available trucks. I think they also have Volvos. I'm not sure what else they have. They have different programs based on your credit. As far as I know, they're all no money down. Not really 100% sure about that. But because of that, payments, price of the truck, all of that is going to be dependent on what you select in your current situation. So I won't go over specific numbers about deductions and things because it's literally a case-by-case basis. Those would be great questions for your recruiter. And like I said, this recruiter's a pretty good guy. If you want his number, I'll be happy to give it to you, or if you want to email me your number, I'd be happy to have him give you a... Anyway, like I said, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a great day. Bye.